This is John Beath with Let's Talk Outdoors, and also representing the Detroit Free Press for Lydia Lohrer. I'm here at the 2015 SHOT Show with Uncle Ted Nugent. Thanks for joining me today, Ted.
My pleasure, John. The Shooting, Hunting, Outdoor Ted Show is what they're changing the name to next year.
All right, well, I remember the days of CompuServe and you and I going back and forth, and then you used to be on my radio show in Seattle, but you've got a new show, not so new, but new to some of you that may not be aware of, Spirit of the Wild. Now, is the wild part of you?
No, I'm the spirit part. The wild part is Mrs. Newton. Actually, Spirit of the Wild started 25 years ago on public television, and we set record pledge drives in 26 states, all 26 states where it aired. Because we didn't play games, we didn't lie about killing game and balancing wildlife every natural season of harvest. And we don't wipe the blood off our animals and pretend we're just harvesting stuff in this embarrassing world of political correctness. And so Spirit of the Wild went once we got going with the Outdoor Channel and the new Hunting Outdoor networks. Ted Nugent's Spirit of the Wild has been the #1 show on Outdoor Channel for, I think, 23 years now, so we're not having any fun at all.
No, you're not. So what ties, this is a question from Lydia, what ties do you still have to Detroit, since you're madman of Motor City?
Well, you know, I will always be a Michiganiac. I was born and raised in Detroit. My musical and my neighborhood roots run very strong. I go back to Michigan every year for October and November. We moved to Texas 13 years ago. Because of a number of different circumstances, we lost our home to a terrible poison mold infestation, and we became very sick. And the only place that would treat our condition was in Texas. And Texas is a great state. In fact, dare I say, Texas is the greatest state in the nation. It has real freedoms, it has a real Second Amendment, and the hunting regulations are based on science, not the embarrassment of social considerations like Michigan has gone. For example, in Texas, with my bad knees, I just had both my knees replaced, I can sight in my deer rifle or my deer shotgun or any firearm I want from the seat of my Polaris. That simple act is a felony in Michigan. I mean, that's just too bizarre to even explain. The mourning dove, the #1 hunted species on planet Earth. The mourning dove is the #1 hunted species. More family hours of recreation, more revenues generated, and more game harvested than any other species. Michigan produces more doves than they do the pheasants, grouse, woodcock, and quail combined. So make note of this. Michigan produces more doves than all the quail, pheasant, woodcock, and grouse combined, but doves are illegal to hunt in Michigan. You see this Cheshire grin on my face because that is so stupid. That is so embarrassing. That is an indictment that Michigan DNR and the citizens of Michigan are either so dishonest or just dumber than a rock that they would make the #1 game species in the world illegal in the great hunting state of Michigan. You don't think Michigan might need the millions and millions of dollars in revenues that dove hunting produces every year, the unlimited family hours of recreation, plus the most delicious fowl you could ever sink a fork into. So it's those kinds of embarrassing, dishonest policies that made me not want to move back to Michigan. But I will always be a Michiganiac. I was voted, very humbly may I share with you, the #1 guitar player all time from Detroit, which is such an honor, such an incredible, beyond any dream I have, but I attribute that to my guitar teacher, Joe Podorczyk, at the Capitol School of Music on Grand River. So I'll always be the Motor City Madman. There's not a damn thing you can do about that. I still perform my incredible Motown rhythm and blues every year in Michigan, the greatest concerts of my life. And all my blood brothers that love to hunt and fish and trap and put their heart and soul into being productive Michiganiacs, they're still my dear friends in Michigan. So I consider myself an American and a Texas Michiganiac, a deer hunting guitar player. So I still love the Motor City.
All right. Over the years, has your philosophy of hunting changed?
I don't have a philosophy on hunting. I genuflect at the altar of truth and science. So to philosophize about hunting, I think is counterproductive. I think that's what happened with the dove lie in Michigan. I think that's what's happening with the wolf lie. So let me get this right. Somebody who lives in Detroit gets to determine how people in the Upper Peninsula manage wolves. Really? Well, that's a real loving gesture. See how stupid that is. That's just brain dead hate. They must hate the people in the Upper Peninsula that are losing livestock and pets and having children endangered because of the overpopulation of wolves that are destroying the deer population up there. So, you know, my life of hunting knows that X habitat will support X life. That's not a TED philosophy, that's science. I know why Thanksgiving is in November. We're thanking God for the annual bounty during the natural fall season of harvest. That's not a philosophy, that's science. Now, my abundant use of garlic and butter would fall into the realm of philosophy, I suspect, because my philosophy is more garlic and butter is better. But there is no philosophy unless you want to just wax poetic and indulge yourself. But the lifestyle of hunting, fishing, and trapping is an environmental and a conservation ethic. It's a responsibility. It's not just our right to hunt, fish, and trap. It's our moral, intellectual, and environmental responsibility to maintain healthy, thriving biodiversity and game populations by harvesting the scientific surplus every fall, feeding millions and millions of people in the United States, and bringing health and balance to the wildlife population so that next spring, now dig this, this is also not a philosophy. Next spring, guess what happens? The deer have babies. And so do the pheasants. How about that? So where do you suppose they might live if we didn't kill the annual surplus? And the answer would be they wouldn't. They'd get slammed by wind turbines and cars and trucks. So the use of the word philosophy, I think, is a non-starter. I think it's another feel-good indication of political correctness overriding a sense of duty and honesty to the wilderness and to the wild ground. And here it is in a nutshell, and this is not a philosophy. Your and my quality of life will be determined by quality air, soil, and water. I think that truism resonates with intellectual and honest people. The only place quality of life, quality soil, air, and water can come from is wildlife habitat. The woods, the streams, the deserts, the fens, the bogs, the marshes and swamps and riverine areas of our beloved state of Michigan and planet Earth. And it is the hunters, the fishermen, and the trappers who sounded the alarm when the Industrial Revolution got out of hand and was destroying some of this habitat and polluting these wild places that produce quality air, soil, and water. This young lady is listening very intently because she's never heard this before. It took the Motor City Madman, the author of Wango Tango, to actually educate her on this basic life reality that our education system should. So when you have, like we do today, I remember when I was growing up, Lake Erie would catch on fire. You gotta be kidding me. So Lake Erie used to catch on fire until the trappers and the duck hunters sounded the alarm. And we demanded accountability while still revolutionizing the industrialization, which we need for jobs and technology and quality of life in many different venues. But now, Lake Erie is the most revered and sought walleye and smallmouth bass fishery in the world, while we continue to produce industry. So when you have a day where you can breathe good, and you get good water, and you get good agricultural productivity, not only do you need to always thank the ranchers and the farmers of America, but you need to thank the hunters, the fishermen, and the trappers for sounding the alarm so that wild ground still exists so that we can have an annual deer season, grouse, woodcock, squirrels, rabbit, pheasant, quail, doves, and all the wild game, muskrats and beavers. That productivity of wildlife, not just game, but non-game, songbirds and eagles and all the different wildlife and flora and fauna that brings us such spiritual invigoration. But quality air, soil, and water can only come from wildlife habitat, and the alarm sounders and the financiers of that, hunters, fishermen, and trappers, period. PETA has done zero except lie. Humane Society of the United States only obfuscates and scams people. They've never saved 1 acre of wildlife habitat. They've never saved 1 animal. They just lie and claim that doves are too small to hunt. Meanwhile, we still haven't banned shrimp. Are you with me, John?
I'm with you. Well, Ted is Ted, and he is so smart. You're one of the smartest guys
Well,
I
it's
know.
simple stuff.
Yeah, it's
You know,
simple
I'm
stuff,
not-
but you are smart. You've
John
got
knows
common
it's
sense.
not that I'm smart, it's just that there's so many really dumb people around that I really look smart. But no, I studied this stuff. I'm 66 years old, clean and sober 66 years. I was raised in a hunting family, a fishing family, an aim small, miss small, marksmanship, archery family. These are the basic self-evident truths and logic that bring us quality of life, being the best that you can be. So when I look really smart, it's because unfortunately there's a new era that came about from the not-so-great society and the raw deal, they called the New Deal, where it actually encouraged people to not try hard, to not be as productive as they can be, to not aim small, miss small, and to actually scam people out of free phone or a free education, because nothing is free. Anybody that thinks anything is free is brain dead or just a liar, because somebody's got to pay for everything. And in the Nugent family and everybody I know, including you, John, and these fine folks in the room with us, I have a funny feeling we all earn our own way, which puts us in the asset column of America instead of those who don't earn their own way, who are in the liability column of America, and we'd like to thank them for nothing.
Now, before you have to go, we have a lot of youth out there. Lydia's got a daughter.
Next to me, everybody's
Yeah.
youth.
Yeah, Natalia Rivers, who also does interviews. She's 12 years old, and she helps me
Awesome.
out. And
That's
she's
great.
awesome. What can you tell somebody like her and the rest of the youth that they need to do so that we can keep the outdoors going?
Well, this social media phenomena I've swan dived headfirst into. Last month I had 28 million Facebookers. I average between 6 and 10 million on Facebook at my Ted Nugent Facebook. And we get tens of millions of people come to my website. And I write for WorldNet Daily, WND.com, deeranddeerhunting.com, Newsmax.com, a whole bunch of sporting and conservation publications. And I gotta tell you, go to my Facebook and listen to the unsolicited, effervescent testimonials from teenagers and preteens who are sharing the picture of their first bluegill, sharing the picture of their first pheasant, who will admit on my Facebook that they never hunted, they never fished, they never touched a gun or a bow and arrow in their life, but they watch Spirit of the Wild, and they see how much fun the old guitar player's having, and they go, Mom and Dad, I want to get a bow and arrow. Mom and Dad, can we get a 22 and learn to shoot like Uncle Ted? So an old guy like me, 66, actually with my uninhibitedness and my, dare I say, buoyancy, my passions, it's contagious and the young people are picking up on it. What we need to do, number one, John, be more upbeat and positive and excitable about what we know is upbeat and excitable, instead of some of our outdoors spokesmen. They tend to walk a little bit almost like they're bored, and I dare say I've heard some Lawrence Welk music in the background when they're trying to promote. These guys couldn't promote a blanket to a naked man in a blizzard. And when kids see flatlining, dispassionate, so take it or leave it numbnuts claiming to promote the shooting sports, it actually scares the children away from the sport. They want excitement. They want passion. They want stimuli. Who doesn't get excited with a bobber going down? Nobody's ever saw a bobber go down and go, hey, my bobber went down. I think I'll harvest a fish. Oh, shut up. We shouldn't let these people be outdoor writers. We shouldn't let these people be on outdoor television. We shouldn't let these people ever expose this buffoonery, bubba, terminally ill stuff in a visible fashion. Those people who hate me in our sport because, Nugent's rowdy. I'm having fun here. I like killing deer. It's exciting. It was a great challenge. Every hunt, unbelievable sport, challenge discipline. Every hunt, precious meat. Every hunt a trophy. I don't care if it's a squirrel, a woodchuck, or a buck or a doe. Every hunt is fun. Meat, sport, trophy, fun. And unless you deliver that message, the kids will do something you don't want them to do. I've had the Ted Nugent Camp for Kids for 25 years. We have graduated, I think it's 16,000 kids and their families. And I visit with them every year that I possibly can. We have children now, We have adults now who were at my first camps 25 years ago, bringing their kids now to the Ted Nugent Camp for Kids. That's how you do it. You make sure your volunteers are upbeat, enthusiastic, passionate, excitable, still controllable and safe, but passionate. If you get somebody talking like that, you can go some other camp because we don't want you at my camp. If you don't love the sport like we love the sport, we got no room for you. And that excitement is contagious. That's how you keep kids' attention. And if you write Wango Tango, you're way ahead of the pack.
Excitement sells. Well, Ted, thanks so much for sharing your passion.
Thank you.
Spirit of the wild. I'd still say you're a little bit of the wild.
I'm thinking, well, it says right here, Ted Nugent, ballistically maximized firepower. Now, Kid Rock thinks it means something else, but it means ballistically maximized firepower.
All right, Ted, thanks so much for joining me on Let's Talk Outdoors.
Godspeed, John. Thank you.